Hey guys, Chef Jojo with ECO, and on this episode we're going to talk about that fifth and final ingredient to success in the kitchen. Reevaluate, retrain, repeat. And as always, we're going to discuss this topic over a shift drink. Wow, okay, so the fifth and final not so secret ingredient to success in the kitchen. There's three kind of stages to this: to reevaluate, retrain, and repeat. I like the repetition in that process. I guess that's why we put the re's in front of it. You can have, it's very easy, it's not very easy. When you find success, it can kind of pigeonhole you or lock you into one position inside our business. And I'm not sure how many people, once they have a good thing going, go back and start to reevaluate and don't mess up a good thing. I agree and disagree at the same time with that statement. I think once you find success, if you're not trying to reevaluate or reimagine what you're doing so you can grow, then eventually you're going to be passed by your competition. If you're not growing in this business, then you're dying. There's always someone out there with a new concept or a new design or a new way of doing things that's going to take away from you. The market is what the market is, and it goes where it wants to go, and it's your job as a business leader to try to find your position and always keep that position, because you have a responsibility to your team, to your family, to the staff, to everything. As the leader, you have to be looking forward, and the only way that you can look forward promptly, or not promptly, but like the only way you can look forward and really see where you're supposed to go is to kind of understand your strengths, weaknesses, and your past a little bit. So you constantly need to be reevaluating your business. I mean, it's one thing to have the best sandwich and people line up for hours to get it, but if you're not, what happens when that trend or that trend goes away? What happens when the next thing comes up? Are you still going to be able to survive through that next pop or that next bubble? And if you're not reinventing yourself or reimagining what your business can do or finding other streams, you got to diversify that revenue, right? Yeah, you got to diversify, John Witherspoon, rest in peace, man. I think that the retrain part of that allows you. So you take a look at the business. You start to look at the menu mix. We talked about this in the first episode when we started to dive into what I think some really big pillars are to secret to success inside a kitchen, and it's evaluating. So you take a look at your menu mix, and that's a great place to start for not just in the kitchen but also in the bar. See what you're actually moving and you're selling, and seeing what your clientele or your guests are looking for. Once you figure out what they're looking for, then you try to give that to them in different ways. So you bust out the menu mix and say, okay, how many of these items are we selling? What's moving, what's not moving? What's a high food cost item? What's a low food cost item? Don't get caught up in the percentages. There's all these different mantras that you can follow, but if you just allow it to happen and just ride the wave without actually watching the set come in, if you will, you can find yourself missing some great opportunities. And how do you, let's say you've done a menu mix and you've picked some items that you want to refocus or remove. So get with your staff, talk to them, ask the servers, ask the cooks, hey, what have you seen out there that you think we should be doing? Ask the servers to talk to the tables and be like, ask the regular customers that come in, is there anything that they've been looking for? We've got some ideas. What are you thinking? And it allows them to buy into what they feel like is one of their favorite spots. And when you start to train people, you're investing in them. And it's not just one training. I think that's one thing that I really want to focus on for my business is the training. Like, I don't know how many kitchens stop and actually invest in their people and say, okay, hey, chef demo, we got somebody coming in and talk about micro herbs, or we got our meat purveyor coming in. A lot of times we focus on wine training or things like that because we'll have somebody from the outside come in and they're pushing a certain wine. So they'll come into the restaurant and they'll train the servers and the cooks and say, okay, this is our new line of this and it came from here and this is what you should expect and this is how you sell this particular wine. But I think we should be doing that with the chefs and cooks and dishwashers, the whole kitchen, the whole staff as well. And you're like, okay, this is what we're really good at, and this is what we need to change. This is what we're bad at, and this is what we're going to focus on. And you constantly reinvest in your team. And you find out it's not going to be easy the first time. It's not going to be a one-hit wonder. You're not going to be able to be like, okay, last week we did a meat cutting class and everybody learned how to trim steaks a little bit better and we had a butcher come in and that might not be what they want. They might want something like where they understand the cost of the business a little better. So you might pick items that's on the menu, break down the cost so they understand every time they don't scrape out the bowl or every time they sell it, this is how much goes to the bottom line. And they're a part of that because when the business is successful, so are they. So it allows you to, maybe increase your wages or make sure that they get the hours that they need or find some sort of benefit program for them. And then as you reevaluate and it's time you meet that goal, right? You're like, okay, this is what we want to do. And you crush that goal. Fantastic. Don't rest on that. Stop and then repeat the process. I think that's the toughest thing is the repetition of the two. Like when you wash your hair, it says rinse and repeat. I think this is the same thing. It's like when you go to the gym, it's like you got to reevaluate what you're getting better at and you got to change the way you're training and then you got to repeat it over and over and over again. That's how you change. That's how you grow. And I've said it I think once already, but if we're not growing, then we're not doing what we're supposed to. The hardest thing for us is to stay consistent. And I think if you get people inside your business that feel like you're investing in them and in the business, they're going to want what's best. And they're going to do everything they can to make sure that you're consistent. And consistent doesn't mean that you've been serving, you can serve the same prime rib sandwich and be known for it and it becomes a classic. I'm not saying you can't do that. What I'm saying is there's got to be different ways. Sooner or later, you're going to have to stand up to the test of time. And being able to do that is going to take that consistent reevaluation of knowing what you are and where you're going. And, some people say like in Hollywood, a good example of that would be Madonna. Just think about how many years she stayed relevant just by reinventing or changing who she was just a slight bit. And she always stayed in the now. I think, everybody was talking about ramen 2-3 years ago or a year and a half ago. And then a bunch of people opened up ramen places. And then it was poke and everybody was opening a poke place. What happens when that's not what happens to you when your fad busts and it's over and nobody's talking about the next bubble waffle cone super straw boba tea, right? If that's all you put your sword, behind, then how are you going to fight that next battle? And I think survival for a long distance in this business is really hard. And if you're not grading yourself every day, then you're not going to survive. I think that's my thought on it. If you kind of maintain those 5 pillars, you will be able to survive a little bit longer than most. I would love to hear what you think about this last 5th not so secret ingredient. Put your comments below. Definitely read them. If you haven't subscribed to us on YouTube, hit the bell, hit subscribe. You can also watch us on Facebook or Instagram. And if you have, the time and you want to give a shout out to somebody that's mentored you in your career, please take time. We have a program called Chef ECO of the Month where when you nominate somebody and you're chosen, they get $150 worth of ECO gear and you get $50 worth of ECO gear. All you have to do is write a quick letter to chefeco@extremeculinaryoutfitters.com. Write your story, and if you're selected, we'll put you up on our Instagram and our Facebook, and then you guys will be able to get all the gear that you want with that 50 and 150. As always, I'm Chef JoJo. Can't wait to hear your opinions and comments. And until next time, cheers.